Hello again. Hope you're all doing well. So this massive pile of paper is all of my watercolor assignments I've done this past semester. These pages were using the Vision watercolor the Strathmore Vision watercolor, whatever it's called, sketchbook pad. I don't know. So we start out the semester with doing, just like warm and cool color wheels. And then we sort of did this like abstract kind of exercise where we did a bunch of like glazing techniques, which essentially means like what's the word? Like layers to make it more like opaque, like stronger. And we did a bunch of these exercises to get used to the paint and to like understand how like mixing works and what's the word? Like blending, I guess. We kind of did that, and we practiced getting flat washes. And then gradients, that's the word. We practiced doing more gradients and stuff like that, from going more opaque to less opaque. And then we did a bunch of other techniques, so we tried like wet on wet gradients and flat washes, and in my opinion, getting a flat wash using a wet on wet technique is a lot easier for like lighter colors. And here we just did a bunch of like wet on wet, just like mixing paints and stuff. I really like this one. And this we just practiced doing a bunch of circles and having like shadows where the lighting hits and stuff. And these were a bunch of orange and lime studies we did in class. And I think this was later, but like between the beginning and the end, the middle was just a blur for the class. I have no idea why. But these were carrots. I like the shadow the best on here, but I like the texture more on this one. And we did some flowers, which I do not like painting because, they're very natural. They're just very hard to get right, in my opinion. Here we tried a bunch of other techniques. So we have like dry on dry, and then we use like not white out, but it's kind of like this kind of like gluey consistency that you put down and then you take it off. But when I tried using it, it kept ripping the paper and I could never get it opaque enough, and it smelled terrible and it destroyed your brushes, so I just never used it. And then like here we use like rice and like salt to get these effects, which was weird. And then we did another one of the bleeding ones, and so this was just a page practicing texture. And then this was the homework assignment we had to do on texture, and I really like this. She said not to do like lighting and stuff like that, but I did it anyways because I wanted to. I wanted to make my life harder is what I wanted to do. So this is my lamp. I did like a blue undersketch because you can kind of see it poking through here. So I put a hat on top of my lamp. I wrapped it in a scarf. Then I just put a book in a water bottle. And we just used a bunch of different like texture techniques. So here is like glazing, and I really like how the scarf came out. Here is, I used a dry brush, which was really annoying, but I really like the effect it got because it looked like hand stitched. So I do really like this one. And then these are like all the assignments that came after it. This was a still life, and I still really like how this orange one came out compared to this one. It looks very bright and vibrant. It just looked really cool. And then this was another still life we had to do. We had to do like two that were like two different color palettes. So like one had to be cool, one had to be warm. This one turned out okay. I still like how the cup came out. This one was also fine, but like I didn't really like either one. I think they were both a bit messy, especially here. There was a lot of bleeding happening, which was really annoying. But I'm impatient. I don't like waiting for watercolor to dry. This was like a succulent that my mom has upstairs. I don't remember what it was, but we had to do like some kind of greenery, something that was living. And so we had to do like two different versions. One had to be like a darker, more saturated painting, and one had to be like a a lighter, less opaque painting. So I did this one. And then I really liked how like the bleeding turned out here and stuff like that. I think it got a little like, how do I say it, like messy here. It got hard to tell what was going on, but I like how it came out. And then this was one of my favorite units we had. It was just like a bunch of landscaping and stuff like that. So these were either our first or second sketches. I think this was my front yard, and these are 2 studies, and I went with this one. So this is how that one turned out. And then this was, yeah, from this one. And I think I made a video of this, of doing another wash over it. And then this is the one I did in class with this, from this one. Yeah. So that turned out alright. But yeah, and these were the 4 original studies. I'm so sad I couldn't get it as light as these were, because I still think this is really pretty. And this was like the first day of our unit, so we took a bunch of photos, and then we just did like, 2 studies of it, so that was fun. And then this was our portraits unit, which actually went by better. We basically took like a graphite paper. It has like, it's really thin. It's kind of like tracing paper, but one side is covered in like graphite. And so we flipped it onto the watercolor page, and then we took a photo, we put it on top, and then we used like a red pen to like outline it. And so this was the first day. I think it turned out pretty good. And then the next week, we had this little like this portrait party where we got with a partner, and we sketched them for like 10 minutes. And I'm so mad with this one, not because of how it turned out, but because this looks better than my self-portrait for drawing, which we used charcoal for. And like, I guess I can't be mad about it because we used a subtractive method for the charcoal drawing. And I spent more time on that one too, so I'm a little disappointed. But like, charcoal and graphite are 2 different things. And I think I might have just been anxious from sitting in front of a mirror for like over an hour drawing it. So this was very fun. This is my friend. And then we like spent the rest of class just painting. And then I hate self-portraits. I don't know why I look so weird in this. It might be the shadows. I just look very dead. And this eye does not look right, even though I traced it. Like, this was the only one that we did where we didn't use the graphite paper, and then this one we used the graphite paper on. And I'm so mad because I wished it turned out more like this one with it. I think I went too like dark of the red, so I kind of look a little dead. I don't know. I do like how this part of it came out. It's very vibrant over here. But yeah, I hate it. I feel like I'm gonna hate every self-portrait I do, but oh well. It is what it is. And then after that was our abstraction unit, which I hated. These were on like different emotions. This was like sadness. This was either joy or peace, and so was this one. And this was like anxiety. And then after that, we had to do an abstract painting of the self-portrait we did. And I think this is more my style, but I'm just kind of mad with how the eye turned out, because I think I put it in the sketch pad we were using for this, and the paint wasn't fully dry, so it smeared. But I don't know what happened here. I think the blue mixed with the yellow while it was still wet. I don't know. And then our homework was we had to do a painting inspired by like the 20th century painter Kandinsky, I think his name was. So like, it was fine. Abstraction wasn't my favorite unit just because like it's so vague, and I like knowing what I'm doing before I do it instead of just like kind of going with it, I guess. And then this was our pattern unit. So this is actually what we did in class. We took 2 different palettes and we just made 2 of the same pattern. And then afterwards for our homework we had to make 2 patterns that were the same but different color palettes based on like our heritage and stuff like that. But what sucked was I came from too many places to pick one, so I just went with like an embroidery feel, and I think it turned out well. I really like how this part turned out compared to this part, but oh well. And then this is for our final, we had to do 4 studies. We had to make 2 paintings and 4 studies for each of them. I ended up going with these 2 because they were a lot more busy. They invoked more emotion than these 2, but I still like how these 2 came out, but yeah. So this one was the blue one, and so we could basically do anything with the 2 paintings, but they had to connect in some way. And so yeah. So basically this one is like me leaving behind all ideas for new ones, and so this is kind of like what's it called? Like for a comic book, like these are like panels and stuff, and they're kind of like breaking, like these are the worlds I had before, and then I move on to new ideas, but I have to leave these ones behind. This is kind of like, I'm very happy in this one because I'm like, I have all these new ideas and stuff like that, and then just, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it. So those were all the paintings from this last semester for watercolor. And since then, I have done 2. Show these ones. I can't speak today. I did a colored pencil drawing of this in my sketchbook, and I do like it more than how this turned out. I still like this one the most out of all of these. This was the first one I did, except for I didn't know that the fountain pen I was using bled, like it got reactivated when water touched it. It wasn't like water resistant. So yeah, that happened. I could probably fix it up with like a white acrylic marker or something. So this was nice. And then this is like the most recent one I did, which I really like how it came out. It's very simple. I realized before recording that I forgot the ears, but like I already kind of like felt done with it, so I'm not gonna change it. I'm a bit lazy, but yeah. So I guess that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Stay safe and God bless.